Week. It's that time of the week here on Thursdays. So just to kick it off, I'll introduce myself. I'm Phelan Lewis. I'm partners with Pip at Seymour Digital Media, where we focus on search engine marketing. And today I am going to be talking to Rena, and we're going to be talking about organic Facebook strategies.
That's right. Hi, I'm Rena Little from Littleworks Indie Media, and we are a small digital marketing agency in Vancouver.
Awesome. And so, yeah, today we wanted to talk about, how to do well on Facebook because, as most people know, it's definitely a very much a pay to play, becoming increasingly so for businesses. But definitely, we wanted to go over what are some other ways that you can generate, you know.
Are you live?
Yes.
I don't see you.
Okay. It says that I'm live.
Oh no!
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't see you guys, so I don't know if I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
okay. We are being informed that we may not be actually going live. So, just one
All right,
second.
let me
Oh,
check. Let me check. Here we go. Facebook.
so I believe that we are. I got a notification on my phone that we.
Oh yay!
Okay. Okay. Sorry for that blip. We were just confirming the joys of software and how it connects to the wide internet. So now that we're confirmed that we're all here live, yeah, we definitely wanted to kind of go over some different strategies that we could do that you could definitely get more out of Facebook using a more organic strategy.
That's right. So hopefully this is worth the technical bits. We've crammed it full of really good tips for you, and I would say that this is still in the beginner realm, but within some intermediate stuff we're hitting on too. So
Yeah.
should we just jump right on in?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So let's talk about type of content. And of course, we all know, or maybe we don't all know, but we should all know. If we don't already know, I'm going to tell you right now, video and lives are really the way to go on Facebook. So generally speaking, when Facebook introduces a new format, what they do is they give that type of post a good algorithmic push, and they start to pull back on other things. And we always have to keep in mind that Facebook wants to keep you on Facebook. So if you're sharing links that are outbound, say to your blog post, your website, or anywhere else, those are going to give you the least amount of algorithmic push.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so that's number one. What are you posting? So we recommend lives and videos. Photos are also good because those also keep people inside the platform. What else, Phelan?
Yeah, and definitely building off of that, emphasize more of doing the lives because Facebook has publicly stated in the past that they want to have engagement. So, having the lives, having comments, getting people to share, it's a way that it's more interactive than people just passively watching a video where they also like to add in, ads in between, and they do try to monetize as much of that as possible, whereas the lives are much more, that kind of, you can build the engagement that Facebook is looking to have and while keeping people on the platform.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next point, which I'm always struggling with. Hey, Esther, how you doing? This part, acknowledging
Yeah.
the people who jump on the lives with you. That's always really good, and try and answer the questions as they come up. So that's really good, and that kind of moves us into our next point, which is to focus on creating engagement. So,
Yeah.
Phelan, you brought up a really good point, and it should be really the golden rule of any kind of media or any kind of interaction with your business, really. You want to tell us
Yeah.
what that is?
Yeah, so it's definitely we want to have. So going off of the lives, we were thinking of doing event pages, so you can build up like energy and momentum for a live. So it's not just kind of dropping it in, and that's one way that you can kind of go with having. Lead up to it, get people excited, notify them of it, so that way that they're engaging with it and they're already prepared and excited to go into that live. And then one of the other ones that was going with that is one of the big ones that you may have seen in our group is the kind of the open-ended questions that I think a lot of us are enjoying right now, of just asking kind of either fill in the blank or ones that are like, what's your favorite software right now? So ones that are basically there's no right and wrong answer. It's just like, what are, you're trying to get people to get excited. What are they excited about? Get people engaged, figure out where people are in, where they are in their business right now.
That's right. So that brings us to, you need to sound not like a marketer. So a lot of small businesses try to sound like a marketer because they're trying to do their own marketing. But really, the more authentic you sound to you, the more you'll hit all of that contextual stuff that is going to create interest in your audience. So a lot of people throw the word authenticity around willy-nilly. It drives me nuts. But when I'm talking about authentic, I mean be yourself. Talk about things that are relevant to you and to the people that you know and your clients. So, for example, if your clients are continually asking you one question, which sometimes they do, that usually means that you should do a live on it, create a blog article on it, or content around that topic or subject or question, so that they can, so that you can, you're hitting everything that they're looking for. Your audience should be telling you what to talk about. You shouldn't be telling them what they should want to know. You want a combination of those two things. Otherwise, they'll disengage if they're not interested in what it is that you're going on about. And so we try and do that in the Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer for sure. Hopefully that's coming across. And Aster mentions that working in a group is great, and that's exactly what we're finding in our group. Groups are great for algorithms. I suspect there's going to be a lot of changes coming up in groups. I've heard some rumors about groups changing and becoming a bigger focus with Facebook in the near future. It'll be interesting to see if that switches to a pay-to-play model also. But for now, let's utilize that to our benefit and see where that takes us. Did we hit anything else in that groups? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'd never underestimate Facebook's ability to try and monetize something. They are...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they are definitely not adverse to figuring out some way to make it pay to play. That is kind of how their business model works, for better or for worse. And so it's definitely one that I know that there's hearing a lot of them. They have friction about keeping it something that's going to be organic, but still and just have it be people talking to other people. And they're trying to find that right blend of having that. And I know that they've been, the ads people have been creeping around trying to get into it. But yeah, definitely enjoy it for the time being. And it's definitely they're good places to build your personal brand. People get to know you, get to know that Rena's about social media, and you can start to build that part because you're helping out people, you're answering those questions. These are ways. The number one rule of the internet is try to be helpful, because it'll help everything. If you're super helpful, people are going to remember that part, and then they're going to go back and be like, yeah, they were really helped me out with answering questions or figuring out, the baby steps to getting my business going. And so that's definitely something that people remember, and it will always transcend any algorithm, anything like that, if you're helpful to people, because they'll want to re-engage with you.
That's right. So ultimately, when you start having budget, it should be a mixture of organic and paid that you're doing. I just want to be super clear on that fact. Just in case that, we can't have that go unsaid. These are ways that you can game the algorithms and try and work with them instead of fighting them all the time. So the other thing that we have on here is that if you want to game the algorithm on your Facebook page, say you're not in a group or you don't want to be publishing in a group for some reason, if you're on your Facebook page, what I usually do when I'm working with clients that don't have any ad budget whatsoever is we want to make that super engaging post. You've seen them all. Either they're going to be something funny, or they're going to be a poll, or it's going to be like, I'm changing my branding on my website, so which logo do you like best? Everyone likes to give their opinion. I do those first, and then that gives us a really good algorithm push, and then we get rewarded. So whatever we publish next is going to be given a better algorithmic push than the previous posts. So you want to think about what is that key piece of information you want to get around. That's maybe your sales pitch, or your product or service that you're highlighting. That should come after a really great explosive post. So sometimes we have posts that explode that we're not expecting. And I go in and switch up my content if I notice that happening. So if there's something that went crazy, then the next post will be about something that's more serious and more in line with what my business goals are. So that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely, and that builds on the idea of like the going back to the funnel, right? You can't skip all the way down to making a sale. They need to have some reason that like, oh, I like these people, because ultimately you don't buy from machines, you buy from other people. And
That's
the machines facilitate the exchange, but it's still, you want to like the people that you're buying from or find value from it. And so providing that upfront, giving them like going, oh, I really like them, they do a really good job at promoting these things. And so, that's when you can capitalize on that, but you have to build it first. You have to have some type of audience or people that are engaged with you before you can jump to making the sale.
That's right. So the next points that I wanted to make about posting in groups, excuse me, are that you don't have to create your own group, right? You can create your own group. Oh my goodness, give me 1 second. Fill in a blank for me, please, Phelan. I need a glass of water.
Okay, so yeah, you can definitely build off of someone else's group. It's starting one from scratch. As you could tell, we've been doing this for a long time, and it's good to do that part. But it's like starting a business or something from scratch. Like sometimes you can take something that's existing, and then you don't have to start the entire flywheel by yourself. You can help push the flywheel. Now that there's a little bit of momentum, you can add some more force behind it, and then help propel that forward and work within the group that's already having some momentum.
Yeah. So there are a couple of strategies that you can do. You can do what I did in the Cyber Geek. I always get the name wrong. Do I still get the name wrong? I can't find it. Anyways, in this group, offer to mod. Moderating for 1 day is a lot different than moderating your own group for 7 days. So it's a lot less effort. I only have to check in 3 or 4 times in a day. And then I can sort of jump in every now and again throughout the week. It's a lot less effort. The next thing that you can do is, if you don't want to moderate, or you don't have time to moderate, or you're feeling shy about it and you want to get your feet wet, you can share posts in all sorts of other groups, especially entrepreneur groups, other marketing groups, other groups that are associated with your business. So if you're in health and wellness, you might find some health and wellness groups to join. Facebook has a ton of groups. And then what I recommend is checking them out and marking down their URL so that they're easy to find with the title of the group on a spreadsheet. And then next to it, I like to copy and paste the rules that matter to me. So I want to know, what day am I allowed to promote my things on? What days am I allowed to go live on? What days, am I looking for a post that they start where they want me to put my stuff in the comment section? And then create that to-do task in your calendar so that you don't miss opportunities. And what I also like to do is, instead of starting with a fresh link, if I ever get the opportunity, to share from my page, because you'll find that people will go back and check out your page when you do that, and that also helps your algorithm on your Facebook page. So those are some of the strategies that we do. Also, oh my goodness, I almost forgot, there are tons of event groups, right? Like, I think there are like 7 or 8 events in Vancouver groups. I don't know why everyone has to start their own. I think it's a lot of work, but you want, there are a ton of them. So you put your stuff into these groups. Event groups are great for people who are running events, doesn't matter what kind of events. And that's what I think for how to work with groups, other than offering your expertise, answering questions, and just getting your face out there. It's all part of your branding, all part of your networking. I look at it as all of those things: part of branding, part of networking, and part of customer service, which is really awesome. Yeah. Did I miss anything on the group section, Phelan?
There is one that I would build on that, which is one that I heard from SaaS people that were looking for ideas. Is you find Facebook groups and people will be talking about the problems that they have, right? Because they're asking questions or trying to get help. So this is a great way for you to do customer research, competitor research. You can find out all kinds of information that your client is just openly asking because they're saying like, hey, I've been looking for a blank, and I've tried blank and blank. So, you can start to build a lot of research that people are just putting out there and finding out what is the issue that is not getting resolved by these other people in the market. And then also they're telling you the question. So then when you're writing ads, they're already giving you the copy because they're just saying, hey, are you tired of so-and-so? Well, you should try this because we solved this problem. Like they're writing the copy for you.
That's right. Hey, Jonathan's joined us too, I see. And Aster said something really interesting. You were commenting, Aster, about stats, sharing stats in group. Do you mean like sharing stats from your industry? Is that what you're talking about? I think that's what you mean. And definitely stats are interesting. People love that sort of stuff. Those are sort of tangible things that they can work with that helps them figure out their problems, how to solve their problems.
Everyone loves data.
And Aster also mentioned that commenting on your own posts is great to push them back up the feed. And absolutely, yes, it's so important. On any post that happens, any comments that happens, don't go and like the person's comment. Go in and finish that conversation. Think of social media as a space to have conversation. So that's, I call it, get chatty Cathy. That's what we do. We want to continually get chatty Cathy because that keeps that post flying to the top of the group or the page or whatever it is, or the person's feed, however they're viewing the content.
For sure.
Oh yeah, analytics. Yeah. So okay, I see. So are you suggesting? Oh yes, I see what you mean. Okay, Aster's saying that there are analytics on groups. And that is absolutely true. And the analytics are getting so much better. And that was one of the reasons why I was saying earlier that I think that that Facebook has something going on with groups that's going to grow, because all of a sudden one day I woke up and there were all these extra stats and analytics that were in there that weren't there before.
Mm-hmm. There's some good metrics that are definitely really worthwhile that come in the groups about how many people are fully engaged, how many members do you have, so you can kind of find how strong is it in the groups. Because one of the other things that we wanted to talk about with groups is that if you decide to grow your own group, there can be some challenges because a lot of people go for vanity metrics and they go for having lots of people in a group, and it's not always the best idea, because you want to go for a steady growth, because there's all kinds of problems of having, you need to get moderators to make sure all the rules are being enforced. You're going to not be able to, it's going to get out of hand. You won't be able to follow all the conversations. You might not even get in the right people.
But even more practically, I just want to jump in there. Even more practically, if you think that Facebook is only sending stuff out to 5% of your people, if you've got 50,000 people and a huge amount of those people are disengaged, then it ruins, how people, the quality of interaction is going to shift dramatically. So I always recommend going for a small group of really engaged people. That's who I like. And I know groups where they have the policy of, if you haven't engaged in anything in the last year, they'll just boot you out, And so there's no point in hanging around in groups if you're not going to utilize them. So go small and go big in that small space. That's what I recommend. And Phelan, you had a story you were going to talk about in terms of quality of members.
Yeah, so we have someone that had worked and they had grown their group significantly, and they were trying to get it as a lead generation. And so what had happened is that when they were trying to get the leads out of that, they had grown it to, they hadn't filtered out as many people, so there was a lot of people there, but they just were not matching with with the actual clientele that they would have wanted to have. And so ultimately they chasing after metrics that weren't going to be viable to the business, because ultimately it's better to have, if you have 5,000 or 50 and those 50 people are hyper qualified, you're going to want that, it's 1% less as 1% of the larger group, but it's way more viable to your business, and it's way more, you can have way better engagement, way better interactions, and also building on what you said, that ratio between number of users and the number of engaged users. I'm confident that that's one of the metrics that Facebook is probably using.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just had a couple more things because we were running a bit late, so we'll try and keep it a little bit more on time. But I'm just seeing we actually hit the second section earlier, which is good, and then the last section. Oh yes, so I wanted to talk about content. So my philosophy on and this goes for more Facebook pages rather than groups. My philosophy is pull back on content creation and push forward on distribution. So if you have no budget for paid distribution, the distribution that we talked about earlier, by sharing your posts in other groups and sharing them on your profile and anywhere, doing an email blast and all of those, and then all of those other social platforms, I recommend actually doing that. And I'll tell you why. We started with a client in January, and he's not ready to do social ads for internal reasons. I think we're gonna launch them next month or the month after. But anyways, we pulled back on all of his efforts. He was doing, oh my goodness, he was doing stories and Instagram every day, and we were posting a blog post twice a week, and we were doing an email blast with all sorts of content in it once a month. And I pulled everything back by half. I actually halved the amount of content. And he was not that thrilled about that. But what we did was we opened up his channels. He was only using Facebook and Instagram. And we opened up on Google My Business and put some things out on Twitter and put, and some other places. And we were able to increase his website traffic, organic traffic, by 25.88%, which is not an insignificant increase for organic over a month period. And then, although Phelan, you can talk more about that because I don't really know what's, I only have a small group of clients, but to me that seems significant. And then what that did on the website is it also dropped down significantly the bounce rate. It increased the time spent on the site and the number of pages, all in big jumps, not small jumps. I'm not exaggerating. I just don't remember the numbers offhand because I'm not into the stats. My memory sucks, let's just say it. And but that was really quite surprising. So what most people feel they have to do is provide content that goes out every single day, and that's not true. You need to kind of pace it, and the numbers will tell you. If you were getting a reach of 500, and then all of a sudden you upped your amount of posting, and then it goes down to 125 reach, then that tells me that you're actually stifling the posts. The posts aren't actually traveling through enough news feeds and enough over a larger period of time, and it's usually because you have a smaller group of people on your page. So pay attention to when your post actually naturally exhausts, and you can figure that out by following your insights on Facebook, generally speaking. So that's my story.
No, and that's great. I mean, definitely, 25% of anything organic, double-digit growth of anything organic is good. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. Just because, in a world where it's increasingly pay to play, just getting solid organic growth, and especially Google organic, is definitely good. And it's one that we always try to encourage as well, just because SEO is just awesome for definitely, it's much more intentional that people are following that. And so that definitely follows through with what you said about the bounce rate and everything. And also, I was just going off that. The other idea that I always like is reusing one piece of content as many times as possible.
That's right.
Trying to take the extract the audio using like Descript or Otter.ai, and then taking that, making it into a blog post, or cutting it, making it into tweets, like reusing as much of that one piece of content to go as many places as possible. Also,
That's
will
right.
make it so that you're taking one thing and you're getting so much more out of it, and so you're focusing more on the marketing aspect rather and the distribution, like you said, rather than like
Yeah.
figuring out what to do with the next blog post, rather than or the next
Yeah.
like a recording like this. Like we could totally just take all these different parts and then make it into little
And
clips,
will.
make it into lots of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit lazy doing that, but it actually works better, and it's a lot less stressful, especially if you're a small business owner and marketing is not your jam. This is the best idea ever. It looks like from my play watching me on this thing that I have a delay and then my mouth goes really fast. I'm hoping that you're not seeing that actually on Facebook. Please tell me.
I don't
Looks
know.
terrible.
I think there's a bit of a lag between our internet connections, and so that's causing some. But your audio is coming in clear, I believe. So
Good.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so Asher says one short video can be months worth of really great content. And that's true. I ran a very small stop, what's it called? Stop animation. What's that? It's something stop. I forgot what it's called. Anyways, it's a little animation video for a Medi-Spa once a few years ago.
Oh.
And we ran that sucker for 6 months, and we just got so much traffic from it. It was amazing. Oh, Pip says that everything's great. Yay.
Oh, okay. Awesome. That's good.
I do that because I look like a robot to myself here.
Well,
Yeah.
as long as it all works out for the end user, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think we covered all of our points. Does anyone have any questions out there? I'm just reviewing. I think I got them all. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. Well, we're so glad that you guys actually come on and join us now. This is so much more fun having this interaction. I love it so much. And I guess that we can wrap up. Hey, Phelan?
Yeah,
so what's
definitely.
happening next week? Do we know what the topic is to let them know?
Of course. I'm totally not scrambling to get that part. Where is the... So I believe, isn't it... sorry, it's just loading. And come on. Of course,
Well, maybe next week is the roundup.
I think it is the roundup.
Yeah, could be the roundup.
Yes, it is the roundup. Yes.
Okay, cool. So join us next week for the roundup. What happened in the last month, and join me tomorrow at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for happy hour. I love it when people join me then. It's just really informal, just a little meet and greet, and a super fun way to start your weekend. Hope to see you. Thanks for today.
Yeah, definitely. Bye.